Hey BookTube, this is Friday Reads. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks, and before I get any further on this wonderful Friday, I have to tell you it's Friday, May the 4th. So may the 4th be with you. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so yeah, I had to say that. I've been saying it all day long to everybody. So yeah, let me tell you about the books that I've been reading this past week. But before I get into that, of course, I got to talk about the Chick Lit-a-thon. This is a readathon that goes the entire month of May. It is hosted by Sophie at All Things Equilateral. And I will go ahead in the description box and link her TBR video and her announcement video and everything like that. And it's being co-hosted by Lisa at Books and Smiles, who is my best friend. And by the way, whose video, TBR, and recommendations, you need to go check that out because, oh my gosh, she's got like every book in the Chick Lit universe to recommend to you for various challenges and for various genres. I mean, she's like all over the place with every book and so many great recommendations. It's amazing. So, I'm also co-hosting and I'm trying to keep up on Twitter with hashtag #ChickLitathon rather than vlog or do anything like that. I'm just trying to just post over there pretty regularly. So if you're on Twitter, I hope you're kind of participating first of all, and otherwise you can look up updates with hashtag #ChickLitathon. So be sure and do that. And I really do hope that you're participating. It's just 5 challenges the whole month long and so easy. It's a fun readathon. So anyway, let me tell you about the first book that I read last week that met one of the challenges. One of the challenges is that you need to read a book that is by an author that is prolific, but that you haven't read. Well, I have read this author one time before, like 5 years ago. It was a book that I just thought was okay. I didn't love it, but I thought I'd try her again. So the book I read was The Substitute, which is by Denise Swank, and it is book 1 in her Wedding Pact series. I think it's just 3 books and probably some novellas, I don't know. This is narrated on audio by Shannon McManus, and I love Shannon McManus so much. And I love her because I think, well, for several reasons, but not the least of which is the fact that when she voices a male character, I completely forget that one narrator is doing all the voices. Seriously, she's so good. I mean, a lot of female narrators don't have a good range that's lower for male characters, but Shannon McManus has an amazing one. She's just, I'm really impressed with that. And I like the way she enunciates words, and I love the pitch of her voice, and she's just really pleasing to listen to, and she does it all so well. The emotion of the scene and, all these sorts of things. So I love the narration. I really did. The book is one of those fake fiancé stories, and it's so cute. I really liked the characters. I think that it had a little more going on than just the fake fiance. I mean, there were reasons that the two people were involved, and there was some hidden stuff going on. And it was just all around a really fun read. I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars, but I rounded it up to 4. Then I picked up Neanderthal, Marries Human, which is book 2 in the Knitting in the City series. Seriously, try and say that 10 times real fast. Knitting in the City series. Oh. It's by Reid, and it's book 2, and it's kind of the sequel to Neanderthal Seeks Human, which I read last week. This is narrated from 2 points of view by Jennifer Grace and Sebastian. And here is what I have to tell you about the narrators. They captured these scenes in this book so well. It was so good. Now, they each follow one of the main characters. So there are 2 main characters, and Jennifer Grace was great in the first book. But Sebastian, adding him in as the voice of the guy was just wonderful. And some of these scenes that play out are so hilarious. I mean, seriously, I was walking around laughing my head off with my earbuds on, which I don't happen to have on. So funny. Just such cute things. And I mean, Kristen Higgins is my favorite kind of chick lit author for writing a scene that plays out like it would in a movie. Penny Reid, same thing. This was a story about a woman who is kind of a geeky nerd. She's really smart. She's really extroverted too. She spouts meaningless trivia when she gets rattled. So that right there is really funny. There's one scene where she talks about a cat beauty pageant that's just hilarious. And then Sebastian York voices the guy that she's going to marry, who she thought was a security guard, but he is not. And I'm not going to follow up anymore with that because I don't want to spoil anything for you, but he's a great guy. And, you know, the thing about the story was that there was more going on than what you initially thought. And I always say that. I know I always say that. But, you know, your standard romance is boy meets girl, and in this case, it's boy decides to marry girl. Girl says yes, we move on from there, wedding, you know, some problem, and then they get it resolved and happily ever after. Well, with this one, there was a lot more progression of the characters as they dealt with this wedding that they wanted to have, but they felt like was happening too soon in their relationship. So she's worried because they're getting married in like 3 months' time, and she feels like, well, they don't know each other very well. And I liked that because that's a real issue with some people, and they don't address it. You know, it's like, oh, we fell in love and we got married. My mom did that, and it did not prove to be a great decision over some years. I mean, she and my dad have been married for 40 years, so it worked out. But, you know, you really should know someone fairly well before you marry them. And so this main character comes up with a plan for how to handle that, and I liked that. I thought, she's paying attention to that, and the way she resolves that whole issue was just done so well. So anyway, loved that one. I ended up giving that one 4 stars, and then I picked up 9 Days and 9 Nights. This is by Cotugno, and it is the sequel to 99 Days. This is, well, it was YA contemporary. 99 Days is YA contemporary, and then this is more like new adult. They're in college here. This is narrated by Allyson Ryan, and it's so good. Allyson Ryan was the perfect voice for this book. She was really able to convey the angst. I say angst, but this isn't the kind of angst that drives you crazy and is so annoying. This is the kind of real drama that these characters are dealing with, you know, real conflict, inner conflict. And she was just able to pull that off really well. I kind of got lost in the story, and yet I didn't get irritated with everything that was going on. And I think that had to do with the way that Allyson Ryan narrated it. So really, really well done. This I had pre-ordered because I really wanted to find out what happens. The end of 99 Days is kind of open-ended, and I think a lot of people were frustrated by it for 2 reasons: because of the ending, and also because it's a love triangle between 3 high school kids. Actually, one's in college, but it's complicated. It's complicated, and they make a lot of bad decisions, but it is so related to real life that you understand why they're doing what they're doing, and you have a lot of empathy for them, especially the main character, or at least I did. So I was really anxious when I heard that this book was coming out, because this is the sequel, and it picks up with the characters. They're both in college now. The girl whose name is Molly Barlow, I love that name. Molly has graduated from high school, and now she's gone on and been in college for a year, and so the book picks up with her on a European vacation with her boyfriend. And her boyfriend has just told her that he loves her, and she set it back, and so they're having a great time. And as she's standing on the platform at the tube station, she looks up and looks across, and right there is one of the boys from the first book that was involved in the love triangle. And she's just so rattled and doesn't know what to do. And turns out he's on vacation there with his girlfriend. So it is all about the way that that relationship, actually all their relationships, play out. And I say relationships because although this is clearly a romance, it was not a romance in the sense where the two main characters that are expected to get together. They make a lot of good decisions in this book, and I was really pleased by that because it was relationships rather than romances. They deal with a lot of the stuff from the first book that they were too young to deal with, and in this book they're a little older, a little more mature, a lot more has happened. And I love the resolution, I love the ending, I loved the way that the whole story went from where it left off to where it got to. So well done. I am a real fan of Katie Cotugno at this point, and I think I want to read some more stuff that she's written. So I may do it this month, I'm not sure. So I ended up giving that 4.5 stars, but because the romantic tension carried on and carried on and carried on. It needed to. I thought it was very appropriate. But, you know, your emotional reaction to that kind of a situation can be, I don't know, it's like a roller coaster a little bit. And so, I don't know, it just didn't cross quite into amazing. So I took it at 4.5 stars and rounded it down rather than rounding it up to 5 because I just didn't think it crossed into amazing territory. But it was so good. Don't get me wrong, just because it wasn't a 5-star book, it was a high 4 because it was so good. I also picked up last week After I Do by Tara Jenkins Reid. This is narrated by Tara Sands. I love Tara Sands' voice. I love the way she just speaks. It's a little bit like Shannon McManus, the way I like her voice. I just really enjoy Tara Sands. I always have in every book that I've heard her in, and I've heard several books that she has narrated. So narration is just top notch. The story is an adult story about a marriage that has fallen apart. And I'll tell you what, I put it down, and I didn't put it down for good. I want to pick it up again next week, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But the reason I put it down is because you can see I'm moving. Moving is a stressful thing. You're always problem solving on the fly. And for me, I've always been the person in my family that everybody else says, where is the, and how do I, and what do you want done with? You know, so I'm constantly having to answer questions and problem solve as I go. So I'm listening along. I've got the tape gun in my hand. I'm trying to fit books, you know, playing Tetris with books into a box. And I thought, this book is stressing me out. And I'm already stressed out with the move. And plus, my 2 oldest girls, who are twins, are in visiting for a thing. And so I have people in the house that I'm dealing with, and I'm an introvert, so I need a lot of alone time. And I just thought, why am I listening to this right now? I need something happy. I need something that's going to bring me up. So I really did. I put it aside with every intention of picking it up next week. And I'm doing that because I'm going on a very long road trip with my husband, probably about 3 weeks. And I'll have a lot of time in the car. I mean, some of these drives are like 10 hours at a time. So I know I'm going to have a lot of time driving, which is pretty benign. And I'll be able to drive and listen then. I get so emotionally involved in the books that I listen to, and I like that. I like being immersed in the story, but you know, when you're doing something that's environmentally kind of starting to wear on you, you just can't do something overly emotional. So really want to read that book. I also want to read One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So yeah, definitely going to get to those. And actually, though, either of those will qualify as the challenge in the Chick Lit-a-thon for a more serious book. So that is for next week. And I'm sure I'll read other books next week, you know, along with the Chick Lit-a-thon. I have a couple of ideas So, you know, and one is to finish the Wedding Pact series by Denise Swank. I really enjoyed that first book. So that was last week. That is the week ahead. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's all going to be chick lit from here on out till June for me. So once again, may the 4th be with you. And once again, please don't forget to check out Lisa's recommendations video and also Sophie's videos. They're just so good. Let me know what you're up to this weekend. Let me know what you're reading. I always want to know if you have a TBR for the Chick Lit-a-thon or if you've finished any of the challenges. Let me know that too. And if you are a person on Twitter, check in with #ChickLitathon from time to time so you can see what's up. And I think I'm going to go take a walk with Emma and go down to the river before I dive back into all this packing because it's not done yet. And you know how it goes. You know, you're always thinking, is it done yet? I think I'm done. Nope. So anyway, have a great weekend, and that's it for now from me. I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.